Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Ellen Kodadek, and I'm the Executive and Artistic Director of Flushing Town Hall. I remember the very first time that I met Jimmy Heath. I had just started working in Flushing Town Hall, and we were talking about the inaugural concert of the Queen's Jazz Orchestra, which is a Flushing Town Hall project that was conceived of by Jimmy and by Clyde Ballard, a longtime jazz and music producer. So I was really nervous because I was going to have a meeting for the very first time ever with the great, iconic Jimmy Heath. And he walked into my office, this sweet, humble man that I was just so afraid of. And he immediately put me at ease. And we started to talk about jazz and the Queen's Jazz Orchestra and all of our hopes and wishes and dreams for the future of Flushing Town Hall. And I can remember when he left the meeting, he turned to me as he stepped out of the doorway of my office. And he said to me, "You're a good woman." And that was all he said. And I knew from then on, all the years that we worked together in different projects, that it was going to be just great. So we hope that you enjoyed tonight's tribute to Jimmy. Wherever you are, Jimmy, looking down on us, we know how much you love jazz. We know how much you love Flushing Town Hall and all the incredible difference that you made for so many lives over the years. And we miss you and we love you and thank you for everything. Enjoy the tribute tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are also this evening raising funds for the Jimmy Heath Scholarship Fund at the Aaron Copland School of Music for Queens College. So if you'd like to help keep Jimmy's legacy of education and teaching future generations of jazz musicians alive, please make a contribution to the Jimmy Heath Scholarship Fund. Thank you again for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you at Flushing Town Hall for all the jazz coming up over the years. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Flushing Town Hall, and all the fans watching. Jimmy always felt at home there. It was always a warm, friendly reception, and he really treasured that. Tootie introduced me to Jimmy in 1959. I had been a music fan in Philadelphia since 1952 or 3, and I knew a lot of people and heard a lot of wonderful music. When Tootie introduced us, I was trying to be an artist in my studio, and Tootie brought him by. Jimmy was very shy, but that was the beginning of a lifelong friendship. I was working in a museum, and he used to call me every afternoon at lunch, and we would visit over the phone. That was how it started. But after 60 years of being together, it was a total miracle. The best gift of my life was meeting him, because I was able to be around when some of the most wonderful worldwide events took place, because he needed somebody to travel with him to carry the horns and be company, and we had a ball. I hope you enjoy this concert and this video. It would mean a great deal to him to know that his life story is being shared and his music is being played, because that was what he cared about his whole life. And thank you for keeping his memory alive through his music.
Welcome everybody, how you doing? My name is Clyde Ballard and I'm the resident producer and curator at Flushing Town Hall. What you're about to hear tonight is a wonderful concert. For all those who love Jimmy Heath and his legacy, this will be a wonderful evening of music because you'll hear him speak and you'll hear the brilliance of his arrangements. The Queen Jazz Orchestra was founded to rejuvenate and revitalize music of the great jazz icons that once lived in Queens. People like Count Basie, Dizzy Gillespie, Billie Holiday, and so forth. So tonight you're in for a special treat, and you're going to hear a special commentary by his daughter Rosalind, brother Tootie Heath, and his son Mtume, with special guests who'll be doing a little playing and a little talking. It's going to be nice. So I'd like to thank the board of directors at Flushing Town Hall for this, Ellen Kodadek and the entire staff, because we've all worked tirelessly to pull this together for you. And enjoy the music, okay? And don't forget to keep swinging. Be well.
This is Rosalind Heath. My daddy arranged and composed the perfect finale for A Beautiful Life. We were just members of the band. The life lessons that he taught me, hard work, commitment, improvisation, and redemption from the early missteps in his life are priceless. He overcame those missteps with his wife of 60 years, my beautiful mom, Mona. The love and passion and discipline he brought to his work and his life was amazing. I took it to heart, and then his endless gratitude. He knew he was blessed. He was truly blessed. One of his last messages was, "Don't let our history be a mystery, and keep the music alive." Thank you and love.
Hey James, can you hear me? I don't think so, but I'm gonna holler real loud. I miss you, man. And see if you can't hear that. I know you're somewhere asleep or something. But anyhow, you need to wake up and hear what I'm saying. I miss you, and I miss having my music lessons, and I miss my gigs, because nobody will hire me no more. After you, they through with me. They cut me loose. They said the Heath Mothers is through. So, bye, James.
Jazz has so many directions that are unexplored so far. The bottom line about jazz is improvisation. It's creating your own melody as you stand on your feet in the moment.
Hi, my name is James Mtume. I'm the son of Jimmy Heath, of the famous Heath family. It includes Percy and Albert Tootie Coomber Heath. I'm going to share a few words with you about my father. He had a wonderful book that was called I Walk with Giants, and I always said, yeah, but they also walk with you. I think what we leave in life is our bloodline and our work. And beyond any doubt, he left that in perfection. I salute him. See you in the further.
Oh, yeah. I've been in love with music ever since I heard it, because it was played all the time. And jazz was played on the radio all the time. And just like the people of today, what they hear, what you hear is what you like. I wanted to be just like Dizzy and have a big band, and I was writing music, and some of my performers we all began to work with Dizzy's band. And then after Dizzy's band, disbanded, it was around that time when the Queens folks were talking about starting a big band, and I think they chose me because of my experience with a big band, playing in big bands and conducting big bands.
Hi, this is Jimmy Owens, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my dear friend, Jimmy Heath. He was a marvelous saxophonist. He played tenor saxophone, he even played flute, and he was a band leader. Funny man. He had names for all the jazz musicians that he coined these phrases of his. Composer, an arranger, educator, very fine educator with an abundance of knowledge. He was a father and a husband. He was married to his wife for 60 years and wrote a wonderful song for her entitled Mona's Mood. I'd like to play a little bit of it for you.
Hi, I'm Councilman Francisco Moya, and it's such an honor to pay tribute and celebrate the life, the music, the impact of legendary saxophone player and member of our community, Jimmy Heath. He made Dory Miller and Corona proud, and it's a privilege to honor him today. For 7 decades, he shared his incredible talent and gifts with the world, but he was more than just a musician and composer. His accomplishments from winning the NEA Jazz Masters Award and playing at the White House to his several Grammy nominations prove just how influential he was. Now, Queens is spoiled for jazz greats, and Jimmy Heath is unquestionably one of the greatest to call this borough home. He's amongst the ranks of legends like Billie Holiday and Dizzy Gillespie that make this such a special and unique place to live. Jimmy even performed with his big band at the Louis Armstrong House Museum in 1988 when it was made a city landmark. But in the half century he spent living here, he did more than just grace us with his performance. He gave back. For 2 decades, he taught music at the Aaron Copland School of Music at Queens College and helped launch the Jazz Studies program in 1986. As an avid music fan and someone who was born and raised in Corona, Queens, I just want to say thank you to Jimmy's family for sharing him with us. We are forever grateful, and our hearts are all with you. I know that he's going to live in the music and the memories that he's left behind in all of our spirits. Thank you, and God bless you, Jimmy. We'll miss you.
Rastan here, speaking on behalf of Jimmy Heath, who I considered family. I think Rastan thought of him as family as well because he loved him dearly and indeed recorded his composition, Watergate Blues, way back in the 70s. Jimmy was more than I have words to express to me. I remember once he went on a tour out of the country and he saw a Rastan t-shirt. He bought it and brought it back to me, and I still have it. Also, Jimmy was always there for me, no matter what the event, how much money I had, or what the situation was. One of the last times I worked with him was at my church, Bethany, where he has done Jazz Vespers, and we also did a book signing with him. Matter of fact, Bethany is in his book. He mentions what a great time he had performing at our church. So all I can say is I loved him. I'm happy that I had been a part of his life, and that's what I have to say about Jimmy Heath. There are more stories, but this is limited. Bright moment.
I met Mr. Heath when I was 16 years old. A few years later, my dream came true, and I was playing with his big band in New York City. I'll never forget going to Mr. Heath's house and spending time listening to his arrangements on the piano. He'd show me stuff that Dizzy Gillespie showed him. And we'd go through his pictures on his computer. Miles Davis would come up, and he made me feel like I knew Miles Davis, even though he died before I was born. Then Mrs. Heath would come in the room and say, "Sonny's on the phone." Even with our 67-year age gap, Jimmy believed in togetherness and treated me like family. I'm forever grateful, forever glad there's you, Mr. Heath.
Hello, this is Paquito de Rivera, and this is my modest tribute to one of the greatest jazz artists ever, the great Jimmy Heath. Jimmy, we miss you, man.
In 1991, I decided to get my master's, and I moved to New York from Boston. And I chose Queens College because of Master Jimmy Heath. I knew he was a legend. He was part of the jazz legacy, and I wanted to be mentored by one of the greatest. So at that time, I was with Roy Hargrove, and I was studying with Master Heath, and at the time, Professor Donald Byrd was there too. But my objective was to build a relationship with the master and get the inside, the stuff under the hood. And we became pretty close, but through the years, our relationship transcended into like where we became family. He was like a musical father to me. And we've had many conversations. He's talked me off of so many ledges. He taught me about just being a black man in America, what he went through, and I shared my experiences with him, and he never passed judgment on me. He just listened, and he would give me some advice. Some things I'm just understanding right now. We spent a lot of time together in his studio. He showed me a lot of his big band arrangements as he was conceiving them. I wish I had taken more advantage of that. I'd probably be a better writer, but I did learn a lot. We ate at his favorite restaurant for years, London Lenny's on Woodhaven Boulevard. And we got the same meal, you know, the fish and chips, baked potato, you know, a glass of Merlot, and many memories with Master Heath and Mrs. Heath and even his son Jeffrey, and their times with other people. But I'll cherish those times of just having fellowship with my mentor. Every young man, young woman should have the opportunity that I have to have like a mentor like Mr. Heath. It transcended music. You know, music was how we met, and it was very important in our relationship. But he taught me about being a man, being a father, being a son, being a husband, you know, about mistakes, making mistakes, and moving on from mistakes, about being spiritual, about not being judgmental, about being passionate, about being open. I mean, he knew about rap. He knew about rappers I didn't know. And I hope that, you know, I can live up to his example. I tried my best at Queens College. You know, he got me in that position, and I thank him for that. And I just try to do everything with him in mind so he can be proud of me. And I know he's around me now because I feel him. But one of the most brilliant men that I've ever had a chance to meet in my life. And not just because I know him very well, it's just he's just one of the most brilliant men. I put him on that level of people like Paul Robeson, you know, the James Baldwins and the Thurgood Marshalls and the, you know, just, I mean, the list of greatness, you know, the Dizzy Gillespie's and the Charlie Parkers, of course, but beyond the music, he was an icon, is an icon. And he was small in stature, but he was a giant. And his music has infected the world in such a positive way and will continue to do so. And I know it's part of my job to continue his legacy by making sure that his music continues to be played, but also by doing the same thing with my music. So, James Heath is here, will always be here, and I have to give him credit for so much that I've done in my professional life. So I'm still, you know, I'm still coming to terms with him not being here right now physically, but I'm just smiling when I can think about all the experiences and the times that we've laughed and cried and just the journey. So I thank God for Master Heath, Mrs. Heath, and Roz, Jeffrey, Michael, and Tume, Fa, my extended family. Couldn't ask for more.
Jimmy, you gave us oh such joy just with your precious gift. So you know it's never goodbye. It's just so long. We will meet again.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say a few words about the incredible Jimmy Heath. I had the great fortune of getting to play with him for almost 15 years, and every moment with him was inspiring, educational, and full of laughter. He was so generous with both his wisdom about music and about life, and he had the ability to walk into a room and immediately make everyone in that room feel better. He was truly a beautiful person and a brilliant musician. I'm just very thankful that I got to be around him, and just wanted to say I love you, Jimmy Heath. Thank you for everything.
What a great privilege it is for me to bring just a brief word of greetings from Bethany, Newark, the home of a 20-year-old jazz vespers, where Jimmy Heath was such a great hit and much beloved by those who attended this monthly service. Jimmy came to us a couple of times, and as a great performer, we all know he was fantastic and much beloved. He also came to us around his 80th birthday for the big book signing of his autobiography. But in general, we just had such a marvelous experience with him. He was such a selfless man, such a humble man, and always eager to learn from other people. He was transparent, and he was, above all, soulful. And he lived a full life, full of adventure. He and Mona were deeply devoted to each other, and we had the great experience of knowing them both. And so Bethany sends its love to Queens College and the wonderful students who have benefited over the years by Jimmy's musical talent, but also his life wisdom. And we send our affection to you from the bottom of our hearts. God bless you.
Hello, everyone. More than ever during these troubled times, we need some love and understanding. And that's what Jimmy Heath was all about. His guidance and inspiration through his playing and through his compositions will last 100 lifetimes. Master Heath was like a father to me. In fact, I met him when I was 22 years old, and that was 7 years after my own father had passed away. So he really was a father figure. Today I'd like to remember some of his nuggets of wisdom, some of his fatherly advice. So number 1 was tell your story. Number 2, what was good is good. Number 3, music's gotta have a groove. Number 4, music is all around us. It's in the air and no one has a monopoly on music. Number 5, music should have science, but it always should have heart. Number 6, and this was a piece of advice he got from Dizzy Gillespie, and he passed it on to us, and that was always have one foot in the past and one foot in the future. He stressed the importance of humility, so he said there are no stars on earth, stars are in the sky. And he loved the big band. He encouraged all his students to write for big band. If you wrote a tune, he would encourage you to write a big band version of that tune. And he used to tell us the big band is our symphony orchestra. So Jimmy Heath was my mentor, and I will never forget his generous love. So today I'd like to play a short selection from one of his big band compositions. This is from one of his extended works, and it's from a suite. This is called the Ballad from the Leadership Suite. Hope you enjoy it.
Hello, my name is Diego Urcola. I first met Jimmy on the road when he was playing with Sly Hampton and the Jazz Masters, and I was playing with Paquito de Rivera and the United Nations Orchestra. We did many tours together. After that, he invited me to join him at Queens College to finish my master's degree. Since then, I play many gigs with his big band and his small groups. I consider him one of the most important people and musicians in my career, and I learned a lot from him about music and about life. One of the first assignments that Jimmy gave me while I was studying with him at Queens College was to write a blues. So this is what I'm going to play for you now. It is called Blues for Jimmy.
All right. Now we're going to close the first half of our concert by playing a composition requested by two people who left. No, they're still here. It's one of my brothers from the Jazzmobile, the great drummer, a pilot. He flew the Attorney General around, taught him how to fly. And he ran the Jazzmobile for 30-some years. That's S. David Bailey is in the house. And David always likes me to play this composition. It's one of his favorites, written by, incidentally, that one was written by Charlie Parker. This one's written by Mac Jr., his wife used to call him, McKinley Dorham, called Una Mas. Una Mas. One more time.
Hi, Douglas Purviance here. For those of you who do not know me, I'm a bass trombonist, a music producer, and the music contractor for the Queens Jazz Orchestra. And first off, I'd like to thank Flushing Town Hall for giving us their home to perform. Mr. Heath really was happy and loved the fact that he could perform in his beloved Queens. Being a part of his creative circle was a real honor for me. And as you know, Jimmy Heath was one of the true jazz masters and one of the great composers of our music, as witnessed by the use of his compositions by the likes of Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, Cannonball Adderley, among others, many, many others. One of his great attributes was his wonderful sense of humor. He would have us performing his great down-home, intricate music, but also rolling on the floor with that great sense of humor of his. Mr. Heath will be missed by us all, but we'll do our best to keep his legacy alive here at Flushing Town Hall.
At just 5 feet 3 inches tall, Jimmy Heath was usually the smallest person on the bandstand, but he towered in his contributions to modern jazz. As a saxophonist, he straddled the bebop and hard bop eras and helped forge the content that has defined jazz since the late 1950s. His playing, even when he was in his 90s, was always impeccable, creative and clear, and full of lines we have come to know as fundamental to hard bop language, except that he didn't just master them, he helped create them. Just as important, or more important, was his arranging, composing, and songwriting contributions. Jimmy Heath learned the art of jazz arranging without the formal training available to students of this generation. He first learned by playing great music, asking questions, and experimenting. What set his music apart from other composers or arrangers, in my view, was his songwriting ability. Jimmy Heath wrote the kind of tunes that sound as if they had always existed and just were discovered, like a mountain range or a sunrise. Songs like Gingerbread Boy, CTA, Gemini, Big P, they're so hip and singable and are as much a reflection of his personality as Epistrophe or Think of One Word for Thelonious Monk. Jimmy Heath's songs are joyful and full of the kind of harmony soloists love to play. He wrote his big band arrangements for musicians in the band to enjoy much the way a chef prepares a meal for family and friends. He understood what made everyone in every section of the band happy, from the melodic lines and rhythms to the resonant voicings and great voice leading. There's always the right balance of challenge and ease, and always plenty of style. His music is at times funny. He often sang funny lyrics to the licks in his charts, which we all came to know and repeat, and at other times dramatic and always rhythmically grooving. His charts reflected his personality, funny and smart and people-oriented. When his band was performing, he stood in front and commented on everyone's playing, laughing and reacting with surprise and delight. He choreographed the very sound of the band with his movement and dancing, enjoying every moment. Jimmy Heath was very proud also of being a teacher. He created the graduate jazz program at Queens College, City University of New York. He also taught at Jazzmobile and was a mentor to many young musicians, both as performers and arrangers. And here I must be personal. When he retired from Queens College in 1997, he asked me to interview for the position. We'd been playing together and contributing arrangements to Slide Hampton's wonderful Jazz Masters Orchestra, which also included the wonderful trumpeter Claudio Roditi and also Antonio Hart, who's in the band. I'm certain he wanted a successor who was passionate about jazz arranging and composition to continue his work maintaining that tradition and emphasizing its importance to young performers. Jimmy Heath believed the tradition of arranging to be essential to jazz expression as performing. He constantly encouraged his students to study harmony and orchestration for jazz ensembles of every size and symphony orchestra as well. Additionally, he liked to introduce his song Sleeves as a contrafact on Autumn Leaves so he could collect the royalties, if you please. That was funny, but he really wasn't joking. Jimmy Heath's copyrights helped him earn a living as a jazz musician, and he wanted young musicians along with their path as performers to understand that as well. I believe that playing the saxophone was so much fun for Jimmy Heath that he wanted to play all the instruments in the band. He wrote for trumpets and trombones as if he played those instruments. His rhythm section ideas were funky and swinging. His arrangements were gifts to the musicians who had the pleasure to play them. Soloists were treated to an improvisational environment, including his hip backgrounds, that allowed and enabled them to express themselves fully. That's what his audience heard. Musicians having a great time playing music with a master.
Hit me again.
I just want to say that music is life, and life is music. And what was good is good.